You even know the difference between right and wrong?
Know the difference between life and death?
My next decision is the most important that I will make.
Nobody taxing our shit. Not on my watch.
Business is about relationships, Kanan.
You don't know shit about me.
Settle down.
I want this case closed. Squeeze hard on anyone you can.
Can't go nowhere else.
That would be something worth discussing.
Unique is about to wreak havoc in episode 2, y'all. I know by now most of you guys have already seen the season 4 premiere of Raising Kanan, episode 1, with Unique's return and kind of the backstory. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have also seen the trailer for episode 2 by now. It's in the intro if you guys didn't already check it out, right? Look, most of us can already tell episode 1 wasn't really the first episode. It is kind of like an extension of season 3, episode 10, kind of like a prelogue or retelling from different perspectives. But I believe in episode 2 we'll finally come back to the present day, and we're going to see Unique finally make his return and possibly wreak havoc on Raq's organization. I have the episode description here. Let's get into it before we break down the trailer. So episode 2 is called It's All Love, and this is with the federal task force seemingly behind them. Kanan and Raq navigate a new business relationship just as Unique begins to plot his request for revenge. Meanwhile, Lou considers a new music opportunity. Marvin goes too far on a side job for Stefano, and Juke tries to adjust to life in the army. Wow, so we got a lot going on just from this episode description, right? And this is one of the things that I love about Raising Kanan is everyone has their own storyline. Everyone kind of has their own thing going on. So looking into the trailer, the first scene we see is Unique. He's pulling back up to his old crib, and it seems like Vanessa and Jerome are gone, right? He was gone for about 3 months. They thought he was dead. She probably thought she'd pack up and go, because we know Ronnie was pressing Vanessa, right? She didn't feel safe, and she didn't feel like her son was safe in that house any longer, right? And while we see this scene with Unique, we also see some background talk, right? We see Kanan saying to Raq, do you even know the difference between right and wrong, right? And Raq is telling him like, yo, I know the difference between life and death. And this is kind of a constant dynamic that we see between these two, right? This is the heart of the show. This is the heart dynamic of the show. The relationship between Raq and Kanan, right? They're navigating this new business relationship. This is likely the scene after they, left the meeting with Snaps and Pop, which was part of that exclusive kind of trailer they gave us a few weeks back, right? So this will be very interesting. Pay attention to this storyline. Next up, we got Lou, right? Lou's out of rehab. He's finally getting out. And, obviously Marvin is there to pick him up, and he's kind of talking to Marvin a little bit. He's telling Marvin, how thankful he is for how much he helped him, and, how he's there for them. And you can kind of tell Marvin, he feels it, he feels the love, but he's still frustrated, right? He's still kind of aching from the betrayal from Gerald, right? And, as you guys remember this past season, Marvin was really trying to be a good dude, right? He was finally trying to be nice to people and finally trying to be a solid dude. And the first time that he tries to do that, he gets betrayed, by a dude who was a rat for a federal task force. But we'll see if Marvin can continue to, kind of be himself. And then we hear Lou talking about how, his next decision is going to be ultimately his most important decision, right? We know he doesn't really want to be in the game anymore like that. We know he want to kind of get back into the music and the music label stuff. And, there's a character that is coming into this season that will kind of tie into that we'll get into later. Next up, we see Marvin, right? We see Marvin meeting up with the Chinese people at their spot, and they're talking business, and, Marvin's pretty much telling them, like, yo, y'all not about to cut our money. Y'all not about to play around with our money. And, he pulls a strap on one of them, and then it kind of cuts out of that. So we know Marvin's going to be on Demon Time this season, like we heard in the description. He's going to be doing a mission for Stefano, and he's going to go a little bit too far on that mission and probably won't end well. We know that storyline isn't going to end well. And then we see a scene with Crystal and Kanan, right? And Crystal's pretty much telling Kanan that business is all about relationships. And it seems like Crystal's been dropping a lot of game. I mean, the first episode, she was telling him a bunch of stuff too, right? So this is a relationship I'm very intrigued to see. They need to kind of squash this whole storyline with the baby. They need to let us know, is he having the baby? Is she really even pregnant? These are something that they need to answer in the next episode. Hopefully they do. And then we see another scene, with Snaps and Pop and Kanan, and they're pretty much talking, this is the aftermath of the Ronnie death, and Pops and Snaps and Pop pretty much telling Kanan like, yo, we own a piece of the business. And Kanan's like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? We didn't agree to that when I told you guys I was putting Ronnie down. And Raq steps in and she says, well, whatever deal you had with Ronnie, died right along with him. And respectfully, Snaps and Pop say, well, yo, this ain't got nothing to do with you, Rock. Respectfully, Kanan gets upset, and he kind of presses up, and they end it right there. And this is a learning curve for Kanan now that he's in the game. He's going up against some big dogs, right? And some people who've been in the game for a long time, and definitely longer than him. So he's going to have to learn fast. But ultimately, I think he'll calm down. We know that Snaps and Pop are going to be mentoring Kanan this season, so it'll be all right. Then we cut the Jukebox, man. And she looked like she's going through it, right? She looked like she's in the army right now. She's putting in that work. She's trying to decide if this life is worthy for her. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to last very long. I think she's kind of going to make a return back and, realize it ain't for me. I'd rather be back with my family and probably end up being back in the game or being in the game for the first time, because we know Jukebox is going to definitely take a darker turn this season, right? Then we have another scene with Unique. And he seems to be at his old house. He's punching through the wall. He looks frustrated. He's like, damn, my girl and my son are gone. And I think this is going to be something that's going to enrage him even further to want to get back at Rock, right? Because just based off the first episode, he's blaming everything on Rock. He thinks Rock set him up and set up his brother and had Ronnie killed so he could take over his business and everything. He's not in his head. Right, he's not in the right mind right now. He's Antonio Brown right now with the CTE. He's tweaking. Right, then we cut to the feds, right? The feds, they want to close up this task force and figure out what happened with Detective Howard. They've had a lot of cops drop, man. Detective Howard and Burke in the span of a couple weeks last season. I mean, they're really pissed, and you hear the captain telling his guys, like, yo, you need to press up on all of our informants. And, this brings the question of, well, where is Famous, right? Where is he at? When are we going to see him again? I don't know, right? Everyone's kind of wondering when we're going to see Famous again. Is he going to survive? And a lot of people think that his storyline is going to be helped to push Kanan forward, right? Then we see a new character that we believe to be called B-Rilla, right? And B-Rilla is supposed to be, a guy that got locked up who's a musical talent. And I think he's going to be tied into Lou's storyline and, kind of helping Lou, find his next artist or be his next artist. And I think it'll really help Lou kind of stay away from the game until he has to get dragged back in to protect his family. And last but not least, we see a scene with Rock and Stefano. And, Rock's pretty much telling Stefano, like, yo, I don't have nowhere to go, right? And I think this might be the aftermath of Unique pretty much hitting her business, right? We know in the season trailer, we've seen a couple scenes of Unique and, some of his guys destroying their scene, destroying the warehouse, taking their product, doing all types of crazy stuff. So episode 2 is going to be a really good one, y'all. I think it's really going to pick up as far as the action and everything. So I would just stay tuned, stay patient. I will be doing a recap and a live stream with Seldom Cinematics on Thursday night. We're going to do a live stream with the episode, and then we'll probably do a recap episode as well. So stay tuned. I appreciate you guys for supporting, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.